Coming to you from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, this is the Quinn Spinn. Hey now, and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, to a brand new edition of... That was the best one in a while. The Quinn Spinn. I'm your host, Quinn. I'm back here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, YouTube, and more for another rousing and riveting installment of the official podcast of Underground Music Collective. You just heard Rebel Nine's All I Become. At the top of the show, that has been our opening theme song since the great year of 2014, and it will be until the very end of days. And what a show! Second show of the week. It's a big one. Will Linley joining us from all the way in Cape Town, South Africa. His latest single, Last Call. It's been out for a couple months. It's a great tune. We talk about that and his rise. He's an emerging artist. You know, he's signed on Island Records, and he's got so much going for him. So much to talk about here. Of course, he's had the chance to tour out there. He's had the chance to do so much. And what I really like about this interview is just a sense of gratitude that comes across in everything he says. You know, this is somebody who's really worked hard for everything he's got. He's built the dream for himself, and just so inspiring to talk to Will here. So I really enjoyed this conversation when we had it a few weeks back, and it's here for you right now on the Quinn Spinn. All right, everybody, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we have joining us from all the way in Cape Town, South Africa, Mr. Will Linley, who has so much happening in his world. Will, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Come on. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. And so I told you before we started here, I ask every guest of the show 3 standard questions, and I'll let you answer these however you want. To introduce yourself, those 3 questions are: who are you? What are your passions? And why on earth would you want to come on the Quinn Spinn?
My name is Will Linley. I am 21 years old from Cape Town, South Africa. Youngest of 4 brothers. My passions are connections with friends, being in the ocean, and making music. I feel like that has to be one of the answers. And why would I not want to come on the Quinn Spinn podcast? That's the answer, is why would I not?
Exactly. We like to have fun here, and you know what? It's always a good time. We try to make this as spirited an experience as we can for y'all. So thank you so much for coming on again. And yeah, we've got a lot to cover here today. And you know, I want to get to know you a little bit. I want our audience, of course, to get to know you a little bit. And so let's go back to the early days. You know, you're in Cape Town, but growing up in Cape Town, music's always been a part of your life. But when did you start to think that you might want to pursue this as a career? And who are some of the people who guided you and encouraged your creative growth throughout the process, throughout childhood?
So like you said, yeah, I kind of grew up with music around me. Dad listening to John Denver, mum listening to the Dixie Chicks. It was kind of like the staple of the Linley household. I guess I started taking an interest in songs and the process of writing songs when I was about 15, 16. A friend of mine was like, oh, you should write songs, because I was singing and played the guitar or whatever. Wrote my first song, absolute trash. It was called My Baby, My Darling, I Love You. Absolute banger, actually. Come on, let's be honest. No, but that was the first song that I wrote. And I don't know, from around 16, I started taking an interest in like GarageBand and Logic, and messing around on my dad's computer. But it never really was a thing that I felt like I could do as a career. Making music and writing songs never felt like a potential career path. Just because it felt super unattainable. For me as a kid growing up in Cape Town, South Africa, a lot of the artists and singers that I was listening to were kind of based out of Europe or the States. And so for me, it kind of was a career path for them. You know, it wasn't a career path for a kid from South Africa, especially in the pop world. I think that's important to say. A lot of the guys that I was listening to at the time, I'm just trying to kind of think back. But even to like my like matric days, so when I was 18, I was listening to a lot of like Lewis Capaldi's earlier stuff, things like that. But it never really was something that could take off. Listening to a lot of Ed Sheeran, a lot of Justin Bieber, things like that. And then really when COVID hit and I was first year at uni, I was forced back at home, and I just gave my all into the writing space and put out a song on SoundCloud and got put in touch with a guy called David Belshaw, who's one of my producers that I work with today. And he really just nurtured a space of creativity and creating without expectation. I would send him songs almost every day, and he'd critique them and say, hey, maybe try this, maybe do this, maybe do this. And if it wasn't for him and his producing partner, a guy called Bubele Boy, I wouldn't be in the space that I am in today. They are still some of my closest collaborators, and they really just allowed me to create in a space where I wasn't having to worry about like, oh, I have to pay these guys, or they were just like, let's be friends and let's create and have fun. Because I think both of us realize that when you create with your friends and create with people that you're comfortable with, you create the best stuff. And that was kind of the early days, and that's when the bug bit. And they were the ones who were like, make your Instagram public. I was freaked out about making my Instagram public. I didn't want to do that. They were the ones who were like, try and make a TikTok page. Let's see what happens. They were the ones who helped produce out the songs. They've helped me with everything. And they've been kind of my biggest and closest collaborators when it comes to my music.
Yeah, just having those nourishing presence of people who, just bring that good energy, that positive energy to any project. I think we all need that, right? Because we're all, we all start from zero, right? And we all start, just creating just for the sake of creating, and like, who has any idea where it's going to lead us, right? But by having those people to guide us along, to encourage us to take those leaps, those leaps that scare us, like for you going public on Instagram, and trying all these new things, like, we need that push sometimes, and I know I've experienced that. I think anybody, who's been doing this for a while and has attained a level of success, like, there's a level of risk, there's a level of discomfort that we have to, be comfortable with, whether that's putting ourselves out there, experimenting creatively. And, you mentioned TikTok too, and that's been a big thing for you, being able to connect with a more global audience, through your music and, throughout the course of the pandemic and even after. So what was the experience like when you started connecting with new fans and the music started resonating with people that you didn't know and that like were discovering you on that platform?
It was wild, man. I think I still remember the day when like my very first video went viral, as you call it. I was at my friend's birthday, and my phone just started kind of blowing up, and it was a really weird experience to think that something that I had made in my bedroom in Cape Town, South Africa, was being seen by people in Europe, in the UK, in the States. It was just bizarre. And I think it suddenly lit like the switch flipped in my head, and I realized that there really was an abundance of audience to reach. You just had to like create something that people were gonna love. And so then I was like hooked, and I was like, okay, how do I do this? How do we make this work? Because what TikTok did and what social media does is it levels the playing field. Suddenly you don't have to be in the States or be in Europe and like know somebody through somebody who knows a person who can help you with music. In South Africa, that wasn't really my case. It took me a while until I found David and Bubele. And then I was like, I found people that care about this just as much as I want to care about it. And so it was that exact same feeling. It was like, oh my gosh, there are people to reach if I just commit to writing songs and commit to trying to get better and commit to trying to create experiences for fans that can create an environment where fans are wanting to listen to the music and wanting to connect to stuff and wanting to come to shows. I think, that first time where Miss Me was going viral was such an important turning point and just like shift in my mindset in going like, this is possible if you just play your cards right, if you just commit to it and take the leap. And that's when I kind of left university a year later. It's all just about stepping stones, and that first time when Miss Me was going viral was that stepping stone of going like, oh goodness, this can work. Okay, how do I take that next step to help this journey move forward?
Yeah, finding that momentum. And I love what you said about how social media levels the playing field, because like you never know the world that's out there for you until you actually start engaging with that world. And we all have that opportunity to do that now that, 10, 15, 20 years ago, like it wasn't there in such a robust manner. But now like you can be in Cape Town and you can be connecting with people in Britain, in the States,
Yeah.
all over the world with what you do. And I mean, you've seen that happen. And the songs are fantastic, anthemic, just great pop tunes that are relatable as well. And I think, you have something here that resonates, of course, with a lot of people. You talked about Miss Me, of course, BEP, Kill All My Feelings, like that opened up such a big world of opportunity for you. You've gotten to go on tours, you've had major festival performances, and since COVID, has waned a bit here, you've had a chance to connect with a lot of new faces across continents, large audiences. What has that experience been like for you to connect with people in person and really see their responses in real time as opposed to on social media?
Oh, it's been so much fun. It's been super humbling. I think it's something that I do not take for granted. It's something that I know is like super rare, and there's a lot of people who would give so much to be in the position that I find myself in. And playing shows and connecting with fans has been such a beautiful way of just experiencing life and experiencing the journey. I think what I realized is that I would not be here if it wasn't for so many people, and a large majority of that is the people that are listening to the songs. The other part of that is my family and my friends and David and Bubele. and there's a lot of people who I really owe a lot to, and a big majority of that is the fans. And so playing shows and being able to connect with people face to face and actually like look at somebody in the eye and say like, thank you for coming to a show, like standing next to a merch booth or standing at the door just after a gig, going and taking photos for like an hour and a half after a gig, just standing there and looking people in the eye and being able to say thank you. It's like the least that I can do. Getting up on stage and trying to put on an awesome show and create an awesome experience is like the least I can do, because I've been put in this position because of my fans, and because of people connecting with the songs. And so it's been such an awesome journey of like trying to figure out how to put on a live show. How do I create this experience that people are going to come to the show and go like, oh my gosh, I got to come to the next one. This was so cool. What an awesome experience. I think that is my job. My job as an artist, as a musician, is to create many experiences for my fans that they feel like they can connect to each other, make friends with each other, and connect to the music. And I'm trying to find just little ways of doing that, whether that is doing little pop-up shows in and around Cape Town or around South Africa. Hopefully one day we're doing a pop-up show in Europe or in the States somewhere. But it's really just about creating experiences. And one of those ways is through the live shows. And that's just been, just such a humbling experience.
Yeah, I have to say, like hearing you say that, like, and watching your facial expressions, like you could see the excitement and the gratitude just like leaping off the screen. Like you seem just so thankful for everything, every opportunity you've had. How important is it for you to be able to show that gratitude to fans, to the people who have supported you along the way?
I mean, it's the most important thing, I love connection with people. Like I said, one of my passions is connecting with people, whether or not it's like my best friend who I've been friends with since I was 6 years old, or it's people that have just started listening to my music today. Connection for me is one of the most incredible things. And so for me, creating an experience is huge. I mean, most recently, we got 50 fans to be extras in the Last Call music video. And that was a way that I could just connect with people. We shot for 12 hours. We were on set for 12 hours. And that was an awesome way for me to just connect with fans and talk with them. And there were takes when like I was just sitting down on the floor and like sitting with 5 people and we were just having a chat and finding out more about each other's lives. And they were asking me questions and I was asking them questions. And that was a really cool way to connect. And I just want to find more and more ways to give back and connect in the same way that they've connected with me and got me to where I am today.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. And I'm excited about Last Call as well. That was actually how we became introduced to your music through our friends at 1824. We had a chance to feature that one over at UMC, put it on UMC 20. I love the song because I think on a relatability level, I think we've all had that encounter, right? That incredible encounter that like ends too soon, but it's like, wow, that was really cool in the moment. You know, you wish it could have lasted a little longer, you know? So amazing cut. And the music video is coming as well. And so, let's talk a little more about the creative process behind the song, behind the video, and then what we can expect when that video drops.
Yeah, man. I mean, so the song, I wrote it at the beginning of last year in like February. I had a writing trip out to the States. And I wrote that with David and Bubele and Teddy Geiger, and we got into the room, and we kind of just my big thing was I wanted to try and create a song that felt like you were falling in love in a sense, that captured that euphoria, that feeling of being out with your friends and seeing this girl and meeting and just having this connection. We also wanted to try and pay homage to like the songs that you hear in a club. The place that I'm referring to is a place that I went to called Boogie's in Cape Town, and at Boogie's they play kind of old school tunes. It's all about like 80s, 90s, but then again, they still play their like modern day remixes. But there's a lot of like Journey and like Stacey's Mom, that type of vibe. And so we wanted to try and build some of that into the song. And so like that whole the At a Bar Met a Girl, that piano riff is like very Journey inspired. And that like those guitar chugs, the way it opens is very similar to like a Stacey's Mom type of thing. And we wanted to just create a song that captured that euphoria, that feeling of just falling in love. And so that was all in the song. And then when it came to the video, I made the video with Bubele Boy, who's one of the producers. His brother is a guy by the name of Abongwe Boy, and he's an incredible creative, like a visionary guy, just unbelievable. And he and I sat down and we just dreamt up this music video that kind of still holds true to the retro feel, but feels new, feels cutting edge, and I'm super excited for people to see. The lighting's beautiful, the cinematography is beautiful. I think it's going to be an awesome piece of art.
So we will be on the lookout for that. Does it have a release date yet, or
mid-Feb? That's the hope. Mid-Feb.
All right, mid-Feb, right around the time of this episode too. So make sure you keep an eye out, check out the Last Call music video, and go stream it, of course, on all of your favorite streaming platforms. Now, looking into the future, 2023 just underway. What are your plans, you know, as far as new music, getting on the road, getting out, playing shows, meeting more fans?
Yeah, I think the dream is to come in and do some more writing trips out in the States, and to hopefully play some shows in Europe. I've got I'm playing Hurricane Southside in Germany in June, which is going to be awesome. Really excited for that. And then just hopefully going to hop on some tours opening for some awesome acts that I can't quite just say just yet. Hasn't been locked in, but it's looking promising. And then just kind of staying here and playing some more shows in South Africa for my people, for home. And then we've got lots of songs on their way. We've got a demo list of about 40 songs that we are just waiting to get the go ahead from the team, and we'll just start pumping some songs out.
Amazing. So much in the works for Will Linley here. Before I let you go, we are coming up on time, but I want to ask you a couple more questions. First and foremost, you know, along your journey, of course, along the creative journey, we all learn lessons, you know, that empower us forward, that we're able to impart to other people, you know, starting out on their own. So what would you say is one of, or maybe a couple of the most important lessons that you've learned along your creative journey that you would share with somebody just starting out or looking to, you know, take the leap into music or another creative endeavor?
I love that question, man. I love it because it's the question that I ask everybody that I talk to in the industry, because I still feel like, I mean, I'm very much starting out. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. So I can give you an answer that hopefully is okay and that somebody can take with them. But it's a question that I ask every individual that I meet in the industry. I think the first and foremost is don't sign anything until you've had a entertainment lawyer read over the contract.
Very good.
That is number one. That was the first thing that I ever got told, and I've held true to that and kept that close to my heart. But I think more just openly and less like seriously, I think don't stop creating. Don't stop writing. I remember watching the Ed Sheeran documentary about his process in creating the Divide album. And I remember him giving a talk to his old school, and he said songwriting is like a dirty tap. When you start running the tap, or when you first start songwriting, all the dirt and the muck comes out first. And then after a while of that tap running, the water starts turning clean. And that's exactly the same with songwriting. The more and more you write, the better and better your songs will get. Down the line, there will still be that muck and that dirt that comes out and those bad songs that come out, but let them come out and finish the song and put it away and never listen to it again if you don't want to listen to it again. But just, it's that practice of writing every day and figuring it out. On the contrary to that, I would say that as soon as Miss Me kind of did its thing and caught a large audience, I started getting incredibly anxious and nervous to write by myself in a room. I wrote Miss Me at this very desk, facing my laptop like this and just writing. And that's how I wrote that song. Funnily enough, I haven't written a song like this for a very long time. I would even say like since I wrote Miss Me. For about a year, I got very scared to sit back by myself, completely by myself, and try and write a song. I get too in my head, I get too anxious, I get too nervous. And so I guess this is for you as a listener, but also for me, is try not to let nerves and anxiety and worry get in the way of you being a creative and doing what you love. Never be afraid to, or never forget the reason why you fell in love with the creative process in the first place. Don't get too analytical with your writing. Don't overthink stuff. Just write and have fun. Because I wrote Miss Me in a space where I was just having fun. And I wrote it not very quickly. I wrote it over a couple hours, and the next day, over a weekend, I basically wrote the song. I get very scared to sit down and write by myself. So to the writers out there, to the songwriters, to the producers, don't stop doing what you did when you were 18 years old or 16, 17 years old. Just find ways to manipulate it, maybe, if you want to try and make it better and bring other people in. But I think I let a lot of the anxiety and stress of writing by myself get in the way of creating something that I'll love one day. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Absolutely. I love it. Keep playing in that sandbox, everybody. Keep having fun with what you do. Will, this has been incredible. I know we are coming up on time, but real quick, want to thank you again for coming on and give you a chance to let people know where they can learn more about you online.
Yeah, man. My Instagram handle is Will Linley, with 2 Y's at the end. You spell Linley Linley. And you can find me on TikTok, and you can find me on Spotify. I'm Will Linley there. Go ahead, listen to the tunes. And yeah, hopefully I can see you at a concert one day if you enjoy the songs.
Absolutely. Come on over, see us in the States too. Would love to see you.
Come on. There's nothing I'd love more.
Amazing. Well, hope to see you down the road, Will, and best of luck going forward. I'll be back with the outro stuff here in a minute. Stay tuned. So there it goes. Will Linley joining us. I want to thank Will again for joining us. And of course, big thanks to our friends at 1824 for setting that up for us. Best of luck to Will. Can't wait to see what the rest of 2023 holds. As a matter of fact, I did see he has a US date up in New York next week as of release date for this episode. So if you're up in that area, look him up. Look him up. He gave you the socials. You can find out all the info there. And this has been the Quinn Spinn. Speaking of socials, 2 N's in Quinn, 2 N's in Spin. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. Also on Instagram at Quinn Spinn Official. Again, remember, both N's in Quinn, both N's in Spin. Learn more about the show as well at Underground Music Collective, our central hub for all things independent music, creativity, community, and more. UMC's on all those socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. Follow the UMC 20 playlist on Spotify. 20 fresh tracks and whatever most recent episodes are new since the last playlist. So you'll get 1 or 2 at the end of UMC 20, depending how many we release in a week going forward. NashLive.live's your hookup. We got some shows coming up, going to be announcing more real soon, including that April 1st hip hop and R&B lineup at the Cobra in Nashville. That's coming up. That's a Friday, but it might be something before that too. Stay tuned. News is coming very soon. Rebel 9's All I Become. Going to take us out like it brought us in. The end instead of the beginning, and I'll see you next time.